Okay, so get this right. A squirrel, an animal sanctuary, and a whole lot of legal drama.
Oh, wow.
Sounds
Okay,
familiar.
I think I've heard of this.
Yeah, Peanut the squirrel
Ugh.
is the famous.
Oh, yeah, yeah, with like hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
followers.
hundreds of thousands
Wow.
on like Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff.
Wow.
Even USA Today.
Really?
Yeah. So this is Mark Longo, who runs the Peanuts Freedom Farm Animal Sanctuary in New York.
Uh-huh.
This is where things get kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm ready. What happened?
So what happened to Peanut? And is it legal? Is it not?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to deep dive into today.
Sounds good.
So to set the scene, like, what exactly happened with Peanut and the law?
Well, so the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, or DEC, like raided Longo Sanctuary and seized Peanut.
Whoa.
Yeah, they came in with a search warrant and everything.
So this wasn't like a friendly visit.
No, no, no. It was a full-on like raid.
So this is serious.
Yeah, and in their statement, they cited concerns over like potential rabies risk
Okay.
and illegal wildlife pet ownership.
Okay.
So,
Intense. So what about Longo? What's his take on all this?
well, I mean, he's understandably devastated, right? Like,
Yeah.
he went on Instagram, where Peanut, has this huge following, and posted like this really emotional video.
Hmm.
And he's accusing those who reported him of like selfishness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's really worried about Peanut's well-being.
Yeah.
And like he's unsure if Peanut was like euthanized.
Oh, man. So like he doesn't even know what happened to Peanut.
Exactly. Like there's this like fear of the unknown.
That's heartbreaking. So how did the DEC even get involved in the first place?
So it looks like multiple anonymous complaints were filed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Against Longo about not just Peanut, but also a raccoon named Fred that he was caring for.
Hey, hold on. A raccoon, too?
Yeah, a raccoon.
So it wasn't just a squirrel thing?
No, not just the squirrel. And the DEC hasn't said what happened to either animal.
Right.
But their statement, really emphasizes the potential dangers
Yeah.
of keeping wildlife as pets, especially without, the proper permits, safety measures, all of that.
So, okay, walk me through this. Like, what does New York law actually say about owning wild animals?
So the regulations in New York are like pretty strict.
Okay.
You can't just decide to keep like a wild animal as a pet,
Right.
no matter how cute it is.
Right.
You need specific permits.
Okay.
And these vary, depending on the type of animal and why you want to own it.
Okay, so different permits for different situations.
Exactly.
Could Longo have gotten, like, applied for one for Peanut?
So potentially, but it wouldn't have been easy.
Okay.
Like there are permits for rehabbing injured wildlife with the idea that you release them eventually.
Yeah.
But those are usually given to like licensed wildlife rehabilitators.
Okay, so not just anyone.
Right, not just anyone, not individuals, Then there are also permits for educational animals,
Right.
but that's for controlled settings,
Great.
like a school or a nature center.
Gotcha. So could Peanut have been an educational animal, like, officially?
Well, that's where it gets tricky.
Right.
Longo says he was like trying to get certified for Peanut, like officially as an educational animal,
Okay.
but it's unclear if Peanut would have met all the criteria.
Okay. What about the raccoon, Fred?
Right, so Fred, from what we know, Longo was planning on rehabbing Fred and then releasing him
Okay.
back into the wild.
Okay.
But again, you need a permit for that,
Right.
which isn't always easy to get.
So maybe Longo got caught in, like, a bureaucratic mess, even if his intentions were good.
That seems to be it, yeah.
Right.
And like, it raises questions about balancing compassion for animals and having, clear legal rules.
So, backing up a bit,
Mm.
how did Peanut end up with Longo?
Well, Longo's story is that he found Peanut orphaned
Oh.
after, like, his mom was hit by a car,
Oh, no.
and he tried releasing Peanut back into the wild.
Okay.
But Peanut kept coming back injured.
Mhm.
So Longo thought he couldn't survive on his own.
Wow, what a story. So Peanut went from orphan squirrel to, like, internet star, and now this?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's where social media, like, adds another layer to all this.
Yeah.
Peanut's Instagram, shows him as this, like, happy, domesticated squirrel, playing with a cat, wearing costumes,
Right.
even eating waffles.
Oh, come on.
I know, right?
So cute.
And this image, might have made people more sympathetic to Longo,
Right.
but it also kind of blurred the lines, between a wild animal and a pet.
So you're saying Peanut's fame might have played a role in all this?
It's possible.
Wow.
Like, the public saw Peanut as this, like, pampered pet, right?
Yeah. Right.
But the DEC was focused on, like, wildlife safety and the risks of keeping wild animals.
So two totally different points of view.
Exactly.
Longo saying Peanut's happy, living his best life, but the DEC is focused on, like, rules and potential problems.
Exactly. And it shows how hard it is to navigate, like, public perception, social media, and the law, especially when it comes to wildlife.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like two worlds colliding, right?
Yeah.
You've got the cute online Peanut, and then you've got, like, the actual laws about wildlife.
Yeah, it is.
Reminds me of that case, that guy in New York trying to get his pet alligator back.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Truly different animal, obviously, but, like,
It raises some of those same questions, right? About exotic animals and the law.
yeah, like, where's the line?
Exactly. And in that case, like, wasn't the owner saying the alligator was domesticated and no threat?
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Totally tame, well cared for, just like Longo's saying with Peanut.
Right. But the law, it doesn't often care about individual situations.
Right.
Or how an animal seems.
Yeah, got to think about everyone's safety.
Exactly. Especially with species that aren't, supposed to be here.
Makes sense. It's like, how do you even decide? Someone loves their pet, but it could be dangerous. Squirrel with rabies, alligator? Well, be it an alligator.
Tough call. It's got to be about how risky it is, right?
Yeah.
And a squirrel versus an alligator, the law's going to see those differently.
For sure. But both cases, it's like we need clear rules about owning these kinds of pets.
Absolutely. And that those rules are followed.
Okay, but online, I bet this is causing a storm.
Oh, huge debate online.
Yeah. What are people saying?
So some are totally Team Longo, like he's this great animal lover. He got picked on unfairly.
Right, right.
They're looking at Peanut, how happy he seems. Proof Longo was doing good.
Probably those folks following Peanut on Instagram, seeing all the cute pics.
Probably, yeah. But then the other side, they're like, rules are rules.
Yeah.
Wild animals, no permit, that's a risk to people and to the animal itself.
So they're more focused on the law, the danger, not so much the feelings.
Right, less about the cute videos, more about what could go wrong. Classic clash, How should we be with wildlife? That's the big question behind it all.
So for Longo now, legally, what's he looking at?
Well, in New York, no permits for a wild animal. That's fines for sure.
Okay.
Could even be jail time, depends how serious they see it.
Wow. And Peanut and Fred, any chance they go back to Longo?
Hard to say. The DEC, legally, they can do a few things. Let him go back into the wild, send him to a rehab place.
Right.
Or, worst case, they could be euthanized. Depends what shape they're in, how risky they seem.
Man, this is messy. Longo clearly cares, built this whole thing online with Peanut. But then there's the law and keeping everyone safe.
Yeah, it's both those things at once. It really gets you thinking about how we treat animals, how individual rights and what society needs, like they clash. And social media, how it makes us see things.
And we can't forget, this started with people reporting Longo anonymously. That adds a whole other layer, right?
For sure. Multiple people did it. So that brings up questions about, like, is it fair? Was it done right?
Yeah, good that folks look out for animals report abuse.
Right.
But what if it's fake? Or if someone's just being mean?
Exactly. Anonymous tips can help, but they got to be used carefully. There needs to be ways to check if they're true before anything happens.
Think the DEC would have moved this fast if Peanut wasn't famous. It feels like that online attention, it might have changed how they handled it.
Could be. Social media, it's helpful, but also tricky.
Yeah.
It can make people aware of problems, put pressure on those in charge.
Right.
But it also leads to jumping to conclusions, spreading wrong info, making things seem simpler than they are.
And cuteness, it gets people's attention. A squirrel in a hat, that'll cause more fuss than some law about wildlife.
That's just how it is nowadays. Pictures, feelings, they often win over facts and rules.
So Peanut being famous, maybe that made things worse for him.
It's possible, and it makes you think about, doing good online. But what if it backfires? And how we all decide what to believe when we see stuff online.
Like a warning, even for a squirrel, being too famous can have downsides.
It is. It reminds us that even online, there are real-world consequences. What we do there, it matters.
Man, from a cute squirrel to this whole, legal thing, it's really got me thinking.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it comes down to, how should we be with wild animals? That's the big question, right? And it's not easy.
Now, especially online, you see all these exotic pets. It's like you forget there are rules or that it might be bad for the animals.
Right. In this case, it shows what we feel, even if it's caring about an animal, might not be the best thing overall. We see a cute squirrel, we think he's happier with a person than out in the woods.
Yeah.
But that's just us, thinking like humans.
So if someone's listening, they're like, I want a cool pet.
Hmm.
What should they keep in mind?
First, really learn about it. Don't just go by cute pics online. What are the laws where you live? What does that animal need to be healthy? Can you really give it that?
Yeah, and even if it's legal, think is it right?
Exactly. Is it good for the animal? Can you take care of it properly? Or do you just want it because it's different?
It's crazy how people online are so divided on this. It's like Longo's either the best or the worst, nothing in between.
That happens a lot online, especially when it's about something emotional. People
Yeah.
just hear what they already agree with.
So how do we get past that and actually talk about wildlife in a way that makes sense?
I think we gotta learn more and be open to different ideas.
Right.
It's not just this guy's good, this guy's bad. It's complicated.
And maybe admit we don't know everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best way to help an animal is to, leave it alone.
Exactly. Respect that they're wild. We wanting to be close to them, that shouldn't hurt them or the place where they live.
We've really gotten deep into this, haven't we?
We have, yeah. All the legal stuff, what's right and wrong, the craziness online, and how to be better with wildlife.
Hope our listeners are understanding it better now, thinking about these questions if they want a wild animal.
Me too. Even a squirrel, it's more complicated than it seems.
And maybe this will make people talk about it more, with family,
Yeah.
friends, or learn about the laws where they live.
That'd be great. We need to understand and care about nature more. That's what matters.
Well said. So one last thing for everyone to think about. What if, instead of owning wild animals, we protected where they live? Let them be free. Just something to consider as you keep learning about how we humans and wild animals, how we all fit together.